Maha-Bharata, Part 2, Chapter 2, Shikhandee's Destiny. Bhishma said to Duryodhana, "As you know, I long ago accepted a vow neither to occupy the throne nor to have any children who could lay claim to it. My father Shantanu then married the beautiful Satyavati and had two sons, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. Shantanu died before his sons were grown, and I was left as their protector. Chitrangada was killed in a battle with a Gandharva king, and Vichitravirya was left sole heir to the throne. As he came of age, I thought it time to find him a wife. I heard that the king of Kashi had arranged a Swayamvara for his three daughters, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. I decided to ride into Kashi on my chariot, prepared for battle. Kings and princes had assembled at the Swayamvara from all over the world, all hoping one of the girls would choose to marry them. Upon seeing this, I remembered that the wise approve of many kinds of marriage, but for the Kshatriya, the best is when the bride is snatched from an assembly of warriors after defeating them in a fight. I then announced to the kings that I had decided to carry away all three princesses for my younger brother, and so I challenged them to prevent me if they could. Then I took all three maidens onto my chariot and sped away. At first, the kings were surprised, but then they became furious. They pulled on their armor, mounting their chariots. Soon, hundreds of them were in pursuit. Thousands of arrows showered down upon my chariot, but dexterously I avoided them all. And as the three princesses trembled in fear, I took up my own bow and turned to face the kings. I countered their shafts with my own, and at the same time I pierced every one of those antagonists. So swiftly did I shoot my arrows that my foes were completely confounded and could only applaud my prowess. Some were killed and others had their weapons smashed and their armor torn off. They then retreated, fleeing in various directions. Only King Shalva, however, continued to chase me. He was determined to win the hand of one of the maidens, and so he rushed after me. Being provoked, I faced him. A furious but short-lived battle then ensued. I soon overpowered Shalva and destroyed his chariot, although I decided not to kill him. Then I returned to Hastinapur with the three maidens. When I arrived in Hastinapur, the eldest princess Amba approached me saying, "Oh, I had already chosen Shalva as my husband, and he too accepted me within his heart, and my father also agreed to the match. I would have chosen him in the Swayamvara, but you kidnapped me, and so I did not have that opportunity. Oh, knower of virtue, tell me now, what should I do?" I asked her to please wait while I discussed the matter with Brahmanas. It was concluded that Amba should be allowed to go to Shalva's city and offer herself to him. We gave her an escort of priests and maidservants and sent Amba to Shalva. When he saw her, however, he replied, "O lady of fair complexion, I no longer desire to accept you as my wife, for you have already been taken by another. You were led away cheerfully by Bhishma before all the other kings. So how can I, who must lay down the law for others, now accept you? You have been touched by another, and according to the holy books, I cannot now accept you as my wife. Amba tried to change Shalva's mind, pleading that she had not been happy to be kidnapped. She had gone to Shalva at the first opportunity. But the king was adamant. Shalva would not accept her. He told the disappointed princess to return to Hastinapur. Weeping like a she-offspray, she thought, "What woman in this world could fall into greater trouble than the predicament I now face? I have been robbed of my friends. Shalva has wronged me, and neither can I now return to Hastinapur. What to speak of returning home in such shame, having been rejected by everyone? As I reflect on the cause of my troubles, it is because of Bhishma. So I will now take my revenge. Rather than return to Hastinapur, I will now go to a hermitage." She then spent the night at the hermitage. In the morning, the rishis saw her weeping and then inquired about her sorrow. Amba told them everything and asked them to help her. But the rishis replied, "Oh, we have renounced all worldly action. What can we possibly do to help your cause? Please, allow me to remain with you and engage in asceticism. I have decided that the calamity of my life which has befallen me is due to the result of my past sins, and so, by practicing penance, I shall become freed of those sins." After hearing the details from Amba, the rishis consulted amongst themselves. Some of them thought that Shalva should have accepted Amba, while others proposed that Bhishma should marry her. Eventually, the rishis decided that Amba should return to her father, for a woman must always be under the shelter of a husband, son, or father. But Amba refused to go. She said she would never return to her father's city and suffer disgrace. While the rishis thus sat pondering about what to do, the royal sage Hotra arrived at the hermitage. He took special pity on Amba because he happened to be her maternal grandfather. Hotra became enraged that Bhishma had stolen Amba and thus ruined her life. With his lips trembling in anger, Hotra said, "O Amba, you have grieved enough. Do not go to your father's house, for that will only increase your grief. You should now place your case before the great Parashuram. He is my good friend and well-wisher. For my sake, he will surely remove your grief. Either he will convince Bhishma to accept you, or he will slay Bhishma in battle. Only Parashuram is powerful enough to do either." And it just so happened that Parashuram was due to arrive at the hermitage the very next day. Parashuram arrived early in the morning, clad in black deerskins, surrounded by his numerous disciples. With an axe over his shoulder and a bow in his hand, he was a most frightening sight. Long matted locks hung down to his shoulders, and his eyes blazed like fire. After he had been properly received and worshipped by the other sages, he sat down with Hotrabahana and was told of Amba's plight. Parashuram then called for Amba. "Oh, you are as dear to me as you are to Hotrabahana. Tell me now what I should do for you. If you like, I can order Bhishma to accept you. And if he will not, then I will consume him and all of his ministers in battle. Or if you prefer, I will order Shalva. Tell me, O princess, your decision." "O greatest of sages, it seems that Bhishma is the cause of my present calamity. I think you should slay him. I have become so vengeful that I now wish only to bring about Bhishma's death. O great sage, kill that covetous and mean-spirited man for my sake." But Parashuram was reluctant to take up arms against Bhishma, and so he said, "I will only use my weapons if the Brahmanas request it. This is my vow. I can, however, make either Bhishma or Shalva accept my order. Therefore, select one of them as your husband, O fair maiden, and I will do the rest." Amba had already concluded that all she wanted was for Bhishma to die. She asked Parashuram again and again to challenge Bhishma to a fight. At that time, another rishi, Akritavana, feeling compassion for Amba, also requested Parashuram to fight. So because a Brahmana requested him, Parashuram finally said, "All right, I will go to Bhishma to seek a solution by peaceful means. And if he will not accept my words, then I will certainly slay Bhishma Dev." O Duryodhan, the following day Parashuram made his way to Hastinapur along with Amba. I worshipped him with all respect, but Parashuram replied with anger in his voice, "Oh Bhishma, in what consciousness did you kidnap Amba? Although you took her by force, you then sent her away. You have robbed her of her virtue, for now no other man will accept her. Therefore, Bhishma, you should accept her, either for your brother or for yourself." "No, I cannot by any means take back this maiden, for she has given her heart to another. It is always wrong for a virtuous man to accept such a woman. And as for myself, I cannot renounce my duty out of fear, greed, attachment, or pity. O Ram, that is my vow." "O Bhishma, if you do not act according to my instructions, then I shall slay you and all your ministers." Repeatedly, Parashuram said this to me, and I tried in many ways to calm him with gentle words. Realizing that he was bent upon fighting, I then asked, "O best of your race, why do you wish to fight me? Why, in my childhood, I was your pupil, and you taught me the military arts. Although I am your preceptor, Bhishma, you have not obeyed my command. There is only one way to gratify me. Either accept this maiden yourself and perpetrate your race, or prepare yourself for death." The words of my guru found no place in my heart. "O Lord, what you are commanding me to do, I cannot do. What is the use of laboring for it? What foolish man would accept into his house a woman sighing for another? Furthermore, I have made a solemn vow never to marry. I see no virtue in your order. The god Vayu has stated that a preceptor may be abandoned if he is vain, if he has swerved from the righteous path of Dharma, or does not know what is his proper duty. I see no sin in fighting with you on this occasion, rather than accepting your order. You are asking me to engage in an unrighteous act only for your own profit. Witness now the strength of my arms and my superhuman prowess. Let us go to Kurukshetra. Slain by my arrows, you will attain the glorious regions you have earned by your asceticism, O you whose only wealth is devotion. By this time I myself became infuriated. You boast that you have conquered the entire Kshatriya race, but today I will prove that boast false. When you defeated the Kshatriyas, I had not yet been born, nor anyone like me. You consumed straw. He who will end your boasts and your desire for battle has now been born. I will destroy your pride. Do not doubt this. Oh, Bhishma, it is fortunate that you wish to fight me. I will thus curb your arrogance. We will fight at Kurukshetra. There your mother Ganga will see you thrown down and turned into food for vultures. O ruler of the earth, your mother does not deserve to see such a fight. But it must be so, for you, Bhishma, are foolish and overly proud. I then bowed before the sage and said, "Let it be so." After performing propitiatory rites to invoke the blessings of Brahmanas, I mounted my chariot, heading out of the city. Equipped with all of my weapons, I shielded my chariot with a white umbrella and yoked my white horses, which could move with the speed of the wind. As I moved off, bards and singers eulogized me. I arrived at Kurukshetra and saw Ram waiting there, grasping his huge bow. Thousands of his followers were present, and around the battlefield stood numerous rishis. In the sky, I saw the gods, headed by Indra. Celestial music sounded, and flowers fell from the heavens. And my own mother, Ganga Devi, assuming her divine human form, came before me, asking, "Oh, what do you wish to do, my dear son?" When I told her, she chastised me. "Oh, you should not fight with a Brahmana. No, do not fight the son of Jamadagni. His strength is equal to that of Shiva. He exterminated the Kshatriya race, and you know all about this. Why then have you come to fight with him?" I then explained to my mother all that had happened, making it clear that I would not now turn back. So she then implored Parashuram not to fight with me. After all, I was his disciple, which is none different than being his son. Parashuram told her that he was determined to teach me a lesson. Helpless to stop either side, my mother retired from the battlefield, feeling anxious for my sake. I looked across at Parashuram and saw that he had no chariot, no coat of mail. I called out, "How can I fight you while you stand upon the earth? O Ram, mount your chariot and put on your armor, for I will now release my weapons." Ha ha! The earth is my chariot, the Vedas are my horses, the wind is my driver. The mothers of the Vedas, Gayatri, Savitri, Saraswati, those are my armor. Well protected by all of them, I shall fight, O delighter of the Kurus. Immediately, Parashuram covered me on all sides with a thick shower of arrows. Repelling his shafts, I saw Parashuram mount a blazing chariot which resembled a city. Celestial horses were yoked to it, and it was protected and ornamented with golden armor and decorations. The chariot was most wonderful to behold, and had been created only by his own will. Clad in brilliant armor, Parashuram stood upon it looking like Yamaraj, surrounded by the personified astra weapons. His disciple, Akritavana, who had requested him to fight, had become his charioteer, and he dexterously wheeled the chariot about as Parashuram called out, "Come, come!" I then repelled more showers of arrows. Then I dismounted my chariot, put down my weapons, and went over to Parashuram, prostrating myself on the ground. "Whether you are my equal in battle or my superior, I will fight with you, my lord, even though you are my preceptor. So please bless me, that I may obtain victory." "O best of the Kurus, your behavior is proper, and I am pleased by it. If you had not come to me in this way, I would have cursed you. But I cannot bless you to gain victory, since I myself want to vanquish you. Now go and fight fairly and with patience, O hero." Thus I returned to my chariot and blew my conchel, signaling the start of the battle. Both of us hurled every kind of weapon at each other. Each desiring victory, we fought furiously. Laughing, I released broad-headed shafts, which chopped his bow into fragments again and again. Other arrows passed clean through his body and came out dripping with blood, entering the earth like hissing serpents. But by his spiritual prowess, Parashuram maintained his life and fought back with fearsome energy. Now covered with blood, Parashuram stood in his chariot like a mountain pouring forth lava. He responded with well-sharpened arrows, which struck me like thunderbolts. Pierced in my vital organs, I trembled, holding on to my flagstaff for support. I summoned all of my patience, and upon regaining my composure, released 100 deadly shafts at Parashuram. Struck by my arrows, Parashuram fell senseless to the floor of his chariot. But immediately I was seized with remorse. "Oh, what have I done? I have slain my own preceptor, a most virtuous Brahmana." I dropped my weapons and held my head in anguish. But Ram soon rose again, his charioteer having expertly removed the arrows and tended to him. The sun set, and we retired for the day, coming together in the evening as friends. At sunrise the next day, We faced each other again on the battlefield. Parashuram shot blazing arrows with serpent-like mouths. I cut them down with my own arrows, even as they sped through the air. Parashuram then resorted to celestial weapons, which I countered with my own. And during the violent exchange of weapons, suddenly I was caught on the chest by a dart, which rendered me unconscious. My charioteer quickly removed me from the battlefield, and all of Ram's followers, along with Amba, sent up a cheer. After some time, I regained consciousness and ordered my charioteer to take me back into battle. He urged on my horses, which seemed to dance as they led us toward Parashuram. As soon as I saw him, I fired hundreds of straight-flying arrows which screamed through the air. But Parashuram cut every one of them into pieces with his own arrows, and so they fell uselessly to the ground. I then sent hundreds more shafts at Parashuram, even as he was countering my last assault. Suddenly, Parashuram was caught off guard and knocked unconscious, and as he fell from his chariot, a loud cry could be heard from his followers. "Alas!" Now, seeing him drop to the earth like the sun planet fallen from the sky, the Kashi princess Amba, along with Parashuram's many disciples, ran over and comforted him. They sprinkled his face with cool water and uttered benedictory hymns. Slowly, Parashuram rose and looked across at me, seated on my chariot. Enraged, he shouted, "Stay, Bhishma, for you are already killed." But even before remounting his chariot, Parashuram shot an arrow which seemed like the rod of death itself. It hit my right side, and it sent me spinning. As I reeled, Parashuram killed my horses. Simultaneously, Parashuram covered me with 1,000 more arrows. Without becoming confounded, I countered Parashuram's attack with lightness of hand. And as I struck down his arrows, my charioteer quickly fetched fresh horses for my chariot. A terrible exchange went on between us. Our celestial arrows met mid-air and stayed there without even falling. The sky became covered with a network of arrows which screened the sun. Parashuram shot thousands, then tens of thousands, then millions of arrows at me, which I duly countered with my divine weapons. A great fire appeared in the sky, reducing the surrounding forests to ashes. As we fought on in this way, the sun set and the battle subsided. For many days we fought, utilizing every celestial weapon and all forms of combat described in the Vedas. Parashuram released missiles which can hardly be described. They assumed diverse forms and came out from every direction. I was continuously whirling in my chariot, trying to repel his weapons and counterattack them with my own. Both of us sought gaps in the opponent's defenses, and we both defended ourselves closely, tightly. The battle raged throughout the day, and at night we would rest. We were both extremely exhausted from the fighting. And on the 23rd day of battle, Parashuram fought with redoubled strength. All of a sudden, he fired a number of arrows which fell upon my horses and charioteer like venomous serpents. They were all slain, and I was left standing immobile on the chariot as Parashuram shot arrows charged with death at me. As I fought off his shafts, Parashuram fired a powerful missile which came at me like a streak of lightning. It caught me on the chest and threw me backwards 50 paces away from the chariot as I fell on the ground. Thinking me dead, Parashuram roared like a thundercloud, and all of his followers cheered. The Kurus who had accompanied me were overwhelmed with sorrow. As I lay there stupefied, I saw 8 brilliant Brahmanas with celestial forms surrounding me. They raised me off the ground and gently supported me. Sprinkling my face with cool water, they said, "O Bhishma, do not be afraid. Soon you will be successful." Revived and comforted, I stood up and saw my chariot yoked to fresh horses, which my mother was tending. I touched Ganga's feet and worshipped the memory of my ancestors. Then I ascended the chariot and sent her away. I took the reins and continued fighting. I managed to catch Parashuram with an arrow of great power, which pierced him deeply. He dropped to his knees, and his bow slipped from his grasp as he fell down, senseless. Then I saw many inauspicious omens. The sky rained blood, and meteors fell. The sun was eclipsed, high winds blew, and the earth trembled. But Parashuram was only stunned. In a short while, Parashuram got back up to his feet and continued fighting. Both of us threw our fiercest weapons at each other until the sun set, when we again retired for the night. Later that evening, as I lay on my bed, my mangled body being tended by physicians, I thought the battle would never end. I prayed to the gods that they would show me some way to overcome Parashuram. Then, while I was sleeping, I again saw those 8 Brahmanas who had visited me on the battlefield. Comforting me once again, they spoke. "Fear not, O son of Ganga, for you are our own body, and so we will give you all protection. Surely you will vanquish Parashuram. Now here is a weapon which was known to you in your previous birth. It was manufactured by the great Vishvakarma, and it is called Prashvapa, and no one on earth knows of it, not even Parashuram. Call it to mind in the battle tomorrow, and it will come to you. Parashuram will be thrown down by that weapon, but he will not be killed. No, he cannot be killed, but he will be defeated and rendered unconscious by the Prashvapa. You will then be able to revive him with the Samvodhana weapon." The luminous Brahmanas vanished, and I awoke with joy. The sun rose and the battle began once again. Now encouraged by the celestial Brahmanas, I was enlivened and fought with renewed energy. After a furious exchange of weapons, I thought of the Prashvapa. The mantras suddenly appeared in my mind, but as they did, I heard a tumultuous uproar of heavenly voices. "O Bhishma, do not release the Prashvapa missile." Disregarding that, I placed the weapon on my bow and aimed it at Parashuram. Suddenly, Narada Rishi appeared before me. The gods are stationed in the sky, and they forbid you to use this weapon. Parashuram is an ascetic, a Brahmana, and your preceptor. O son of Kuru, do not humiliate Parashuram by any means. And as Narada was speaking, once again I saw the 8 Brahmanas in the heavens. They smiled and said, O best among the Bharatas, obey Narada Rishi. That will benefit all creatures. Seeing the irresistible Prashvapa weapon upon my bow, and not realizing that I had been forbidden to release it, Parashuram shouted out, Alas, O Bhishma, I am vanquished. And Parashuram dropped his bow. His father, Jamadagni, along with other heavenly rishis, then came to him, ordering him to stop the fight. They told Parashuram that I was one of the 8 Vasus, and thus he could not slay me in battle. Then Jamadagni said, The powerful son of Indradev, Arjuna, will later cause the death of this Bhishma. Lord Brahma has ordained this. And so the battle ended. Severely wounded, I went before my preceptor and prostrated myself at his feet. And after this, Parashuram spoke to Amba. O princess, you have seen me exert myself to defeat Bhishma, and still I have not been able to overpower him. Therefore, you may go wherever you please, for there is nothing more I can do for you. O Holy One, let it be so. You have done your best on my behalf, and I am so very grateful. Still, my heart burns with revenge. So I will practice asceticism, and in that way I will gain the power to personally bring about Bhishma's death. Parashuram was highly pleased with my prowess and blessed me that I would be without any equal in battle. After that, Amba bowed down before Parashuram as he left with all of his followers.